Hello and welcome to the Raising Kellen podcast. My name is Marsh Naidu and I blog at raisingkellen.org, where we curate resources for parents raising children with disabilities. As always, remember the content on this podcast is for your information only, and if you seek advice for your specific situation, to always contact a trained professional. Today is the 100th episode of the Raising Kellen podcast, and what better way to celebrate this milestone than with our friends from the Memphis Disability Network. I am joined by Ashley, Parks and Ginna Rauls. So guys, grab that cup of coffee, put your feet up, and get ready for some awesome conversation. Welcome, Ginna. Welcome, Ashley.
Good morning.
Good morning. I am so glad to be talking with both of you. And I know you'll also do so much in the Memphis community in terms of the Memphis Disability Network, which is something as well that I would love to talk more about today. But before we head into that, just to kind of give us a sense of you guys as individuals, I would like to know more about you. And before we kick into that, just a brief visual description for our listeners. My name is Marsh Naidu. I'm a female of Indian origin. I have short black hair, brown skin, and I'm wearing a blue T-shirt today. We are going to start off next with Ashley Parks. And here we go. Ashley.
I'm Ashley Parks, and I have blonde hair, and I am wearing a pink sweater today.
I'm Ginna Rauls, and I have two daughters. I just have an empty nest, so I just got to go on a walk this morning. So I have on my workout clothes, and I'm with my dog, Mr. Willis Brown.
And a quick shout out to Carrie, who is a dear friend of mine, and was actually friends with Ashley as well as Ginna. So thank you, Carrie, for making this introduction. Guys, how did this ministry come about?
Well, for me, I joined Christ Church about 17 years ago, and the ministry was just kind of getting off the ground. And it was started by several parents that had children with disabilities that attended Christ Church. And so when I arrived, it had there was a volunteer that was running the ministry and trying to get things going in different types of programming and a Sunday school class for their children. And so that's kind of where it started. And then from there, when I joined, I think back in 2006, I quickly met Ginna because she and I were kind of doing the same thing, but at different churches. So I was at Christ Church and Ginna was a volunteer at Second Pres doing the same kind of work that I was doing. And so, that's kind of where it all started with the ministry and kind of growing it to where we are today. Jen and I met right off the bat because there were, we both had issues with trying to find volunteers and support when we started growing the ministries. And that's where, it all began, especially with Jen and I's relationship and partnering and collaborating and bringing other churches in on what we were doing and how we were growing the ministry and finding more families that needed support and needed Jesus.
Ginna, tell us a little bit about, just tell us a little bit about you and how you came to the ministry.
Well, mine is kind of a sweet story. When I was 12, I saw a commercial. I was in my little sunroom in Nashville, Tennessee. And I think looking back, that was the Lord putting the special needs ministry on my heart. And I just started volunteering as much as I could since then. And when I got a business degree, so I didn't get any kind of special ed degree. I don't have anybody in my family, but I just was volunteering anytime I could. And that's when I met Ashley. was just combining together because we both loved to do it. It was what, just brought our hearts full, and my family got involved as well. So my husband and my two girls are also very involved in the ministry. So,
Ashley, now, did you have any background as far as the disability community is before you started the ministry at Christ Church?
I did. I actually worked at United Cerebral Palsy of the Mid-South for 15 years. And I was the director there of their support and recreational services. So I did mostly children's services with the exception of one adult program that I operated. So I was at a little bit of an advantage with experience because I had all of these families that I had been serving for years. And now when I went to Christ Church, I had, I knew a lot of people that I wanted to bring into the ministry, and I wanted them to learn about what we were doing there and how they could benefit from, what we were offering, and also bring them closer to the Lord. When we first started the ministry and working together, is a lot of the people that we were working with were younger children and their parents. And now it's kind of flip-flopped. It's like all these children that we were serving 17 years ago have grown up, and now they're young adults. And so it's interesting how that's kind of flip-flopped. Not that we are not interested in serving our younger population. Of course we are, but it's more people that we're seeing now that are needing help, ages 22 and up. So that's kind of where we are today. It's an interesting thing, how that's worked out.
I know, Ashley, because I think a lot of parents initially, depending on where they are in the journey as a family, early on, it's like the early intervention, all your therapies take such front and center stage. But as time goes on, practical issues such as housing, long-term housing, setting up financial resources to support your loved one with a disability kind of takes front and center stage. Mm-hmm. And that's why I found the informational evening I attended with you all, I think around the 5th or the 6th of July of this year, so informative. Because you guys discussed like transitional training, financial resources. That was an amazing evening you all put together as the Memphis Disability Network. So guys, tell me a little bit more about the network and how that came into existence.
Well, I'm going to let Ginna talk about that a little, but what I wanted to explain is how this all kind of is connected to the ministry and Joy Life 901. So initially, the special needs ministry under Christ Church was just the special needs ministry. And then we had a Sunday school class on Sundays called Blessings. And we did, various different things like Parents Night Out, where we gave parents opportunities to have respite. And then we enjoyed, being around their children and reading Bible stories and playing games and that kind of thing. So it kind of started off small, and then it grew eventually through those 17 years that Ginna and I have been partnering and collaborating. And so through those years, we formed a somewhat collaboration of a variety of different churches and faith-based organizations such as Young Life Capernaum, where we formed Joy Life 901. But after the pandemic, it seemed like, things kind of, as we all know, the world just kind of shook up and things kind of settled and went in different directions. And so Joy Life 901 kind of was kind of morphed into the Christ Church ministry, like where it was just, it's like a hub of all of these different things. Like Memphis Joy Prom is an arm off of Joy Life 901 in Christ Church. Memphis Disability Network is the same thing. It's an arm off of this ministry where I met Torben Jensen, who is with Johnny and Friends, over a year ago, probably a year and a half ago, Ginna, something like that. around a year and a half ago, and we were introduced. Someone gave him my information, and he was already in contact with a girl over at Hope Pres. And so one thing led to another, and we started talking about how we could grow in the Memphis area and help families find resources and that kind of thing. So we did a luncheon and invited people. And Ginna, that's where Ginna came in, and she was said, I really want to come to this. And from that point on, she knew this was something that she was really interested in pouring a lot of her energy into, and thought that this is exactly what Memphis needed. So Ginna, there you go. You talk a little bit about how your role is in this, because she's grown it a whole lot in the past year.
Well, I think that, just thinking about some of what you were talking about, Marsh, about the July event, we've found that a lot of our families that we do life with are just bogged down with the therapies and they kind of need help. Sometimes just, here's a topic. If you're interested, come join us. Right. And so they said, thank you, because you sometimes can't think that far ahead. So we actually listened to those families and just said, what are your needs? And if we had resources to connect them with, then that's great. If not, let's figure out, does Memphis need something? If there's a bunch of needs that aren't being met, let's start it. So that's kind of how Memphis Disability Network began. And this past year, we took the needs and had 6 events that we took the top 6 needs, and we had resources. And one event, we just did a fun day at Camp Conquest where families got to come out and pet horses and, fish and eat hot dogs over a fire. So there's some fun too, but most of it is the benefit of it is allowing families to network with resources, and we provide the venue for that. So
I think another thing about that too, Ginna, is that we're providing the venue, but we're also providing a space for parents to also connect with one another. And that to me is a huge deal, because that's where I think most of the time parents can find true, valuable resources in that room, amongst each other.
So for parents wanting to know more about the Memphis Disability Network, how would they reach you, or what is the point of contact, Ashley?
Well, they can reach us. We have a website that people can go to, joylife901.org. They can go to and find all sorts of information. There's tabs with Memphis Joy Prom, Memphis Disability Network, and kind of all the things that we're doing there. So they can find information there. They can email Memphis Disability Network, gmail.com. We will respond to them.
We're also on social media. So
that's true.
Ginna, can you tell me what would be the benefit for a service provider or a vendor to join the network? Because you'll also do collaboration on that level as well.
Right. So a lot of times resources have a lot to offer, but they don't get the word out. Somehow they are unable to reach our families. A funny story is the Mid-South Food Bank signed up to come to one of our events, and Ashley and I were like, well, that's interesting, food. And they have a diaper drive, adult diapers. And so they say, we have this incredible resource, and we just are unable to get the word out to some of the families and so they brought thousands of diapers, and our families, signed up for what size they needed. And it was just this beautiful display of like a need that a lot of people didn't know that there was a resource out there. So we, even people hearing about you, I think you were the most popular booth at our July event, Marsh. Everybody was lining up just to hear your story and to talk to you. And I know some of our friends from that event have already been on the podcast. So It's just reaching more people with your resources. So
I must say, Jenna, that was when I met Caroline Sadler and O'Malley Norbert. These are the two teachers at Houston High School in Germantown, and I loved hearing about the transitional program they run for the 18 to 21-year-olds. And yes, and that's a connection that came out of visiting with you all that day. But guys,
Right.
so that's the Memphis Disability Network. What about Joy Life 901? Are there any special occasions that you guys have coming up, or anything that message that you want to get out to the listeners about Joy Life 901?
Sure. We have active, opportunities each week. We have a breakfast club that meets from 9 to 11 on Thursdays. And what that is, it's a breakfast we provide for $5. If you can't afford it, that's fine. If people come in and they can't afford the $5, they are not asked to pay. So we have breakfast, we do a Bible study, we have worship time, and then we have light fitness with one of our instructors, Ginger Holland, who's amazing. And she works with each individual, and it's just we have a great time, but we're also learning more about the Lord. So it's a fun way of meeting new people, providing community for our friends, and then on Wednesdays we have a fitness program that we work with with our fitness director over at Christ Church. Her name's Jan Avawater. She's awesome. She also leads our Challenger baseball program that runs through in the spring. And those are people that participate in baseball with any type of disability, and they play different teams, so they have a great time. But Jan leads this exercise that we work all together with and collaborate with her on Wednesdays from 11 to 2. And so during those 3 hours, we do break for lunch. Everyone brings their lunch, and we have lunch together. We talk about different things and have a devotional. And then we go back to the gym and play volleyball or different. We walk a lot. We do different things that Jan has provided for us. We celebrate people's birthdays each month. So one Tuesday a month, the second Tuesday a month, we celebrate everybody's birthday that falls into that particular month. And we honor them and love on them and provide lunch and do a devotional. So we have a lot of things and a lot of opportunities that happen during the week. And then we have special things going on throughout the year where we have pop-up events and Thanksgiving and Christmas parties. And we do have a Memphis Joy Prom fundraiser that's going to be a dinner and silent auction in November 30th. So we're excited about that, and in the midst of planning and getting real excited about getting people together for that.
What I love is that, a lot of our adults aren't in day programs and so what we provide in other churches and ministries throughout the Memphis area is different activities that they can pick and choose from. So it may be that they love fitness, but they, don't really want to do breakfast club on Thursdays because they have something else. And so our city has a lot to offer throughout the week for people out of that 20, the 22 and up. So we just love to we have sometimes 100 people on Thursdays at Breakfast Club, and it's parents. Sometimes we even had a parent come that their kid had gone back to school, and the parent wanted to come just because it was a community that their friends were. So It's just kind of sweet to see the volunteers and the caregivers and the parents and our friends all get together throughout the week. So.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. I so appreciate your time, Jenna and Ashley. Thank you for the work that you'll do at Joy Life 901, as well as the Memphis Disability Network. And before we close off, y'all are not going to believe this. This is our 100th episode on the Raising Kellen podcast. So,
Congrats.
I'm so glad to kind of share this with you guys. And as I said, totally respect the work that you're
y'all do.
I would say there is a light in your eyes, Marsh, that like just sitting here watching you, you have so much joy.
Yes.
Just in the way you speak. And no wonder, people are tuning in for 100 episodes. You just are so joyful, and we thank you.
Yes.
Oh, my word. Well, listen, you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Make sure you tell Carrie Timmy I said thank you and hi again.
Okay.
And,
Small world.
I know it. I know it.
Tell Kellen hello.
Thanks for having us.
Always. Bye,
All right.
y'all. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening along on the podcast today, and please share the podcast, give us a rate and review on your podcast player. And if you would like to reach us with any ideas of future episodes, you can contact me at raisingkellen@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. As always, guys, remember, get to the top of your mountain. This is Marsh Naidu signing off.